check it too. All right. And we're starting up. And here we go. We are live. Welcome, everybody, back to MLR Tonight. Sorry about the technical difficulties. We're back. And we have some huge news here out of Nationals Park. In fact, we have the umpire, Scotty Smalls, here, part of the Umpire WSH crew, live on MLR Tonight. Scotty, how are you doing tonight?
Oh, doing fantastic. It's an exciting night here in fake Nationals Park. This is what fake baseball is all about, folks. That's glad for all of you to be joining us now.
All right, Scotty. We have a huge moment right now. Henrik Omega at the plate. A lot of base runners on base. Washington can get the win right here if they drive in a run. Please, Mr. Scotty Smalls, give it the result of this at-bat.
All right, well, the bases are loaded. There's no outs. Henrik Omega, he's 1 for 1 today. He's got a double and a walk, and he has been a hot hitter so far for the fake Washington Nationals. 3 runners on here. Hoff Bardozzi on first, Knight on second, and the pinch hitter Wayne, who got this all started with a walk, is on third. Looking in now, Einhorn has finished his warm-ups, and he comes set, fresh off some rest. But he's coming here in a tense moment. All the base runners are for Stifle, who came in the 5th inning, but was pulled early in the 6th. Omega comes walking up to the plate. He's looking a little different from his last plate appearance. Omega's wielding the power of recently retired superstar Bo Kinsella. Rip Bo. The crowd is on their feet here in Nats Park, and Einhorn comes set. He peeks back to third. They kick in a pitch. And it's going to be a ball low and outside for ball 1. Now, folks, this has been a big day for MLR News everywhere. We can get more to that later on in MLR Tonight as Einhorn, he's working quickly, comes set. Here's the 1-0. And that's a curveball just called a strike 1 on the outside corner. Omega can't believe it, but he shakes it off, fixes his batting gloves, and he's right back in the batter's box here. The 1-1 count. He takes a deep breath. As the crowd is on their feet here, they want to see a win. The 1-1, a pitch, and it's hit into left field. That ball is up. That ball is off the wall. It's going to be a base hit. Wayne comes around to score. Touching first is Omega, and that's the ball game. Henrik Omega with the walk-off win. The Nationals take the win in the bottom of the 6th inning in walk-off fashion. How about that for a game winner? The Nationals win 2-1. Walk-off hit from Henrik Omega. Fake baseball does not get much better than that. Holy cow, folks. The Nationals win it. That's right, the Nationals win it.
Wow. Unbelievable. Wow. Nationals now move to 2-5 on the year by that walk-off win, thanks to the nice bat of Henrik Omega. 2 for 2 on the day, a double, a single, and a walk, and a huge go-ahead run brought in by Henrik Omega. Diamondbacks will fall to 2-5 now. So let me get all of your opinions on this. You too, Scotty. What do y'all think about these two teams now in the season? Are the Nationals potentially beginning to heat up? Do they have everything figured out? Are they about to start running? Are the Diamondbacks slipping? Maybe did everything go wrong back at the Voorhees trade? What do you guys think about these two teams and where their trajectories are? Mylo, you want to talk first?
Yeah, sorry, I kind of scratched again, but man, I think that's on the way up. I think they're a team to fear, and I feel bad saying this with JaAm here, but I don't know if they're on the way up. I think the Diamondbacks are going to struggle a little bit. These walk-off wins are big for the momentum of a team, and I think the Nats have the momentum now. I think they're going to ride that and every game as we keep going, and I think they might be a team to fear. They almost made the Paper Cup last year, so I think they're coming back.
Doc, let me get your take on your team here. What do you think about your Diamondbacks in this game, the way they played?
It's disappointing, but I think the record undersells us, really. I mean, I think that's 3 of our losses now. 1 was in extras, it was a walk-off, and 1 came down to the final against the Rockies. It's just not all coming together at once. Come back, but we've got a hill to climb here.
All right, Scotty, what do you think about this game and what you've seen here as the umpire?
Well, it was a chess match the whole time. They both answered in the third inning. Arizona scored one on the double play ball from Stakes that scored Dreschler. And then Kinsella homered to center field. What a great way to end his career. And then got that amazing standing ovation as he was walking out. But then the Nationals did something that I haven't seen from a lot of teams at all. The game was on the line, and they went with small ball. They got a man on base. He stole second. Then they bunted, ended up with a single. Now, they could have won the game a couple times, like the 16 different on the bunt from Hofbardozzi. They could have won it right there, but, they played the long game, and, they got the result that they wanted. But I'd be interested to see if some other teams pick up on this and see if they can't get some runs on some small ball play. You love to see the long ball. We almost saw it there in the last at-bat. But, it's something that I think some managers will look at and see if they can't have some success with some of the rules that are in play to get runners in scoring position. Obviously, it was the perfect storm for the Nationals. But it'd be interesting to see what other teams learn from this win, and if we start seeing more bunts to get base runners around.
All right, the Nationals will wrap up their 3-game homestand in Session 8 against the Brewers. They'll be interesting to see if they can go 3-0 in the homestand, but they'll have a tall task ahead of them as they try to score quite a few runs off of Dan Jerzone, who has been quite the amazing pitcher for the Brewers. Meanwhile, the Diamondbacks will return home to face the Padres next session. All right, Scotty, you're welcome to join us if you'd like to talk about a few of these AL matchups if you want. First, we're going to head out to Seattle and talk about Twins-Mariners. Right now, at the moment in that game, we are waiting a result from the Devil Fernandez crew to see what the Johnny Hopkins swing will do. He swung a 73 against, I believe, Jarris Walker's pitch. We are waiting to see what that result will lead us. But let's recap the game so far. It all started in the top of the first. Jarris Walker, obviously pitching for the Mariners, his first time on the mound since winning Player of the Session back in Session 4 with this complete game shutout over the Red Sox, which is their most recent loss. Minnesota opened the scoring early by Angel Leon getting a sac fly to right field that scored a leadoff hitter C.W. Mitchell, making it 1-0 Twins. Followed that up by a single from lefty Lewis that scored Johnny Hopkins, making it 2-0. For the Minnesota Twins. We haven't seen much scoring from them. What we have seen is a fantastic pitching performance from Tim Burr. So far, 4 innings pitched, no hits allowed, no runs allowed. He's walked 3, struck out 1. So as much as this perfect game story has kind of swept the league, we do have a no-hitter actively going on at Safeco Field. What do you guys all think about this matchup right here? Mylo, let's go to you first.
So this matchup right here is another good one. I think the Twins pitching is always undersold because even when it's appreciated very much, Twins are even better than that with pitching. The Mariners I find really interesting. Like, they are such a strange team. Pitching needs a lot of work, and their batting needs a lot of work. But this game they've given up 2 through 4, I think, and they haven't gotten a hit yet. Like, it's so up and down with the Mariners. I feel like they're dependent on the team they're playing. Of the team that they're playing, but they will be worse at it. Tampa Bay, they didn't have very good pitching, and they had a lot of good batting. And they were a little worse than Tampa Bay at it. And now this game, Twins have good pitching. Mariners try to exemplify that, but still it's not enough.
What do you think, Doc? Oh, sorry.
They did kind of figure out their own game. But,
all right.
That was all I was going to say. The Mariners, I think, need to figure out their own type of game to play.
All right, Doc, let me get your take on this game.
We're going to have to check out Tim Burr in the OOTC having another dominating game against Seattle. Seattle's a good offense, too. We always knew the Twins had potential to be the top team in the league. They've never been there. You can have this sort of pitching with a very recognizable lineup. The rest of the league needs to take notice.
All right, Scotty, do you have any opinions on this game we got going on?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I have no idea what game we're talking about. I was writing up the result there for Omega and updating the box score. But fake baseball is alive and well, and I'm excited for next session.
Amen.
And let's not talk about the Dodgers.
All right. Let me just go ahead and put a quick recap here of the American League. We've talked about all these games now. Boston currently leads the Devil Rays 10-5. Minnesota is currently leading Seattle 2-0. Toronto is leading the Orioles 8-1, and the Padres are leading the Tigers 2-0. Mylo, let me go to you first. Which of these 4 games do you think, I know it's a little early to talk about division races, which do you think of these 4 games is probably going to be the most impactful as we go down the stretch again to the All-Star break?
Which 4 did you list? You had
we have Boston,
you had the Twins.
beating Tampa Bay, Minnesota and Seattle, Toronto and Baltimore, and then Padres and Detroit.
Yep. Tampa Bay is the most important because I think Tampa Bay to Toronto, and that's it. And this would be their second loss, but it'd be in division against Boston. And at the same time, Boston is coming up. Important game of the whole session. It might not be the best game of it, but I think it's the most important game of the session so far. If Tampa Bay does pull this off, they've really front-run themselves into it. Well, that's not really a word, but that they've really launched themselves into being the front-runners of. Yeah, I think Boston-Tampa Bay is by far the most important, and a lot of people should pay attention to that one.
All right, what do you think, Doc?
I think Boston and Tampa Bay is a very important game in by the end of the season, you're most likely going to see those 2 really out unless the Blue Jays somehow manage to stay in there, showing that they're for real and they can hit off of even the top pitchers like Ed Turner. Even when they had what seemed like an activity issue, then Chuck McCluster shows up and he's in Discord all the time and he's 3 for 3 in the game. I think Boston's really making a name for themselves.
Alrighty. Let's hop over and let's talk about a couple of our completed games so far in this session. First, let's head out to Progressive Field and let's recap what happened earlier in the session between the Indians and the Astros. Not a whole lot of offense here. In fact, this one was all pitching, primarily from Tommy Foxconn, who threw a complete game shutout. Threw 7 strikeouts, only giving up 3 hits and 1 walk. Struck out many players, shut down Bear Thomas twice, shut down Montana. Bon Giovanni went down swinging, batter De Leon. A lot of action here on the pitching side of things. In fact, the only offense we saw mainly all game came in the bottom of the 3rd inning with Willoughby Hoos on the mound. KC9 at the plate. He's had some activity issues out of late. So it was nice to see him do this. With 1 man on, he hits a long fly ball out to right field. That was gone. A home run for KC9, his first on the year. That would score him and Filthy Frank, making it 2-0 Indians, and no other scoring would occur in this one. Cleveland would win 2-0. Tommy Foxconn getting his first victory this season. Like I talked about earlier, a complete game shutout, only giving up 3 hits. Willoughby Hoos would get the loss. His first loss of the season, surprisingly enough, 3-1 in the year. ERA is going to go up to 4.27, get 6 strikeouts, 5 hits, 2 runs, and 1 walk. Wade Wilson would do 1 inning in relief. No runs, no hits, no walks or strikeouts. So what do y'all think about this one? What do you think about these 2 definitely different pitching performances? I mean, Hoos still had a very, very solid game. But what do you think about this game? 2 teams that are typically known for, a lot of things they've done on the offensive side. You got Montana for the Astros and a few very key players on offense for the Indians. What do you think about this pitching duel we saw here in Progressive Field? Mylo, let's go to you first.
Yeah, so the first thing is that pitching is not really – I mean, both these teams are okay at pitching. I mean, you look at their ERAs. Yeah, words are hard. Both of these teams have pretty decently high ERAs. Like, neither of them is outstanding. Big Tuna is pretty good, but that's really it. So that pitching is really impressive this game. Also, was it Nine Fingers that scored in this one?
KC9, not Nine Fingers, sorry.
They're the same people, basically.
Yeah, another alt. Oh,
geez.
I should probably just stop mentioning that off the cuff, but yeah, I mean, good on him to get that homer because it seemed really tough to just get a hit in this game.
All right, what do you think
about this?
Okay, what do you think, Doc?
I like it. I think they've got potential in the future. They kind of have a bad rep with the Discord activity, but I think it's better than. I think their pitching staff's really good. Cleveland kind of concerns me because all these active players for inactive players, and then you have guys like Connor Carter and just now Benny Rodriguez retiring. Question them. It's a big win for them when you have those sort of question marks surrounding your team.
Alrighty. So again, the Astros will fall to the Indians 2-0. My apologies. Astros will host the Mariners next session in what looks to be a very exciting game. And meanwhile, the Indians will head east to play the Baltimore Orioles at Camden Yards. Our other completed game, I guess you could call this a pitching duel, but definitely a very unorthodox one. The Expos traveling west to take on the Milwaukee Brewers in Milwaukee. First game of the year for the Brewers, or first game in quite a few sessions, rather, that Danger Zone will not get the start or not even see any mound time. Ron Swanson, the rookie pitcher for the Brewers, will get the start here. And through an okay debut game, 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts. But primarily, the only offense came right at the start of the game with Swanson on the mound. Zachary Benz up to bat, 2 men on here in the top of the first, 2 outs. He hits a long home run out to left field that score him, fielder, and Casutori, making it 3-0 Expos, and that's the only offense we'd see all day. Bracton Abella got the start for the Expos. He threw 3 innings, allowed 2 hits, no runs, 1 walk, and 1 strikeout. However, he was pulled from the game after just 3 innings due to a emergency that was undisclosed. John Chena on MLR Tonight last night confirmed that Abella will not be returning to the Expos anytime soon. Phil Coulson, of all people, I guess they wanted to rest Tiberius, came in on relief. He picked up the win in this one, giving the position player the win in this matchup. 3 innings pitched for Coulson, 2 hits, no runs, no walks, and 1 strikeout. What do y'all think about this interesting pitching duel, I guess, or unorthodox pitching duel, rather, we saw out here in Milwaukee?
Well, I think I'll take this one. I mean, you got to believe Ron Swanson. I mean, that guy, you've never seen him eat a vegetable. It's all protein all the time. I've even seen him just recently. He was at a grocery store, and he was offered a vegan bacon strip, and he just took it and threw it in the trash. And he did that another time before they finally kicked him out. But, you know, Ron Swanson, he's got the diet, and he's got the know-how. And so I think we're going to see some more big things from Ron Swanson. That's all I can do for right now. I got to head back and watch some more Vine compilations. But, you know, it's been a pleasure being on here and look forward to being on again. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mylo.
Scotty, you're the best. I just want to throw that out. Have fun watching.
Never mind. You're Scotty, not Mylo. I'm losing it.
Yeah. Thanks again, Kyle.
All right. Thanks, Scotty. Have a good night.
Thanks, Scotty. Yeah, I mean, I think maybe Ron Swanson's meat diet isn't helping him to start, but I mean, once he got buckled in, I mean, you saw it here. He was away, but he just had that rough start. I think now that he's had a full game under his belt, I think he's going to have a lot more success. Granted, that's if Zone doesn't take a lot of these games. Zone was the big ace in Milwaukee, and I think after this game, Milwaukee's going to be scary because they have 2 aces now.
Alrighty, what do you think, Doc?
It's you had to wonder how Montreal will continue to do without Ozanam now. Abella, who put in a great pitching performance, but is now gone forever. Years ever. But I don't know how Coulson did that with the position player pitching through 3 innings. But that's pretty impressive.
Quick topic here with the Expos. Want to get your opinion on. You brought up Ozanam, and we had John Chena on the show last night, and Chena talked about Ozanam being the glue of that clubhouse. He said Ozanam brought life to what was going on in a very dull Expos clubhouse when Jameson Poe was taking over the team. And so when Chena came in, brought in Ozanam brought life to that team. They really started to spark. But now there's going to be some questions about who steps up and leads. Do you guys have any idea of who you guys think that guy will be? Will it be Colson? Will it be someone like Zachary Benz, who's been putting up great offensive numbers, or a Trey Rangers? Or is it someone we're not even thinking about? Maybe it's Jack Casutori. Maybe it's Cal Tiberius Jr. Who is going to be the glue of this Expos team if they're going to continue to win games? Mylo, start with you.
I mean, so before you even mentioned it, I was thinking Jack Casutori because I see him occasionally in the Discord, but like the most active person is probably Mike Honcho, and he doesn't really get involved with the main Discord, but he's really awesome, and he holds this clubhouse together. Even without him, we'd be okay, but it's really awesome to have him anyway, because I think he's probably the most active person. That being Jack. The way I made that sound, it was like, yeah, we don't need him. But no, we do need him. A lot of the guys that we have are pretty great, but I think he's the most influential. And I think that's the case with Jack. I think he's provide that light, and someone's going to need to do that. Jack Casutori being that kind of wild card and taking over that role.
All right, quick update. Let's go live back to Steve Irwin Memorial Stadium down in Tampa, Florida. Red Sox continuing to rack up the hits here as they just let McCluster get on first base with a single. Now Fernandez is officially up to the plate. The pitch is in out in Tampa Bay. Fernandez we're waiting on a swing from him. As soon as we get that swing, we'll bring that to you live here on MLR Tonight. Let's play a little game, why don't we? You guys like games, gentlemen, right? So let's play a brief little game. I'm curious what you guys are thinking about this. It's called Buy or Sell. I'm going to give you guys a few topics throughout the MLR right now, a few discussion points, a couple people or groups of people rather, and I want to know whether or not you are buying or selling their performance in the league at the moment. If you're going to buy stock in them or you're going to sell, all right? You guys got that? And I want you to tell me why, all right? Mylo, we'll go first to you once we get our first topic, and then Doc, you can follow that up. And I'll also share what my opinion is, and we can kind of talk through it. So the first topic on the board, we just talked about the Indians and their lineup and the Astros. Let's talk about the Astros and their pitching staff. Willoughby Hoos, Con Copper, Focus Balfour, and Wade Wilson. Willoughby Hoos, obviously, the ace in that rotation, getting the most innings, has a lot of wins. You have Con Copper, who just had tied Gerzone's strikeout record. Balfour hasn't pitched in a game yet, not even in Echo. And then you have Wade Wilson, who had a okay performance against Seattle in his debut, but didn't really do a whole lot. Are you buying or selling this Astros rotation at the moment? We'll start with you, Mylo.
I would.
For me, I gotta sell here. This is the high stock terms. The Astros just had a pretty good game pitching, but they had a good game pitching, and I think this is one of the best times. This is the best you'll see from their pitching. If you look at the ERA of their team, almost 6 runs a game, which is not good, and that's after this last game. But I don't see the Astros getting their pitching better. I think these pitchers, they're not predictable, but I think they just run into bad luck, and I think after a while you have to stop blaming bad luck.
All right.
Okay.
All right, Doc, are you going to buy or sell on this Astros pitching?
I think I've got to sell here. You've got three Discord active pitchers. Typically that's going to work out, but I think Copper has just had poor result for me to say, and based on his, he doesn't look. I shouldn't say this as the Diamondbacks that hard to hit off of, and that's probably why the Red Sox could do that to him the last game. And I do like, but at this point he's been pitching for so long. I think he's really shown that he's just not a star, and for me to say focus is gonna. I'm gonna sell it. I don't think they're gonna be bad forever, but I don't see a playoff worthy rotation.
I got to be honest with you guys. I'm going to take the Albert view. I'm going to buy on this rotation right now. I think Willoughby, who is the leader of that Astros clubhouse, he's the veteran. He's got a lot of innings under his belt. Obviously, he's being used, but he's definitely a glue guy that they can use to rack out wins and really be the staple of that rotation. Then you have Copper, who's all strikeouts, almost a Garrett Evans type pitcher. If they can use him effectively and put runs behind Copper, I think Copper and Hoos as the 1 and 2 starters would be incredible. And then you have Wilson in the bullpen, who Wilson in the short term, in short spans, is a great pitcher. If you look at some of his innings, if you can get him out and get a good inning or 2 innings out of him, he's great. It's when you get him into those long runs. So I don't think Wilson is meant to be a starter at all. Obviously, we haven't seen anything out of Balfour yet, so once we see him either in Echo or in an Astros game, we can get a better read on him. But I think right now the Astros have good pieces here. I think the decisions they've made and the moves they made to be able to get out of pitchers. I think trading Anderson to Milwaukee was a great move. Getting Ariana in, I think getting rid of Anderson and clearing up more room for these 4 guys was a great move by Wilbur Wood. So shout out to Wilbur for making that move. I think this team is on the rise, and I'm looking forward to see what they can do. All right, let's go to our next topic. Doc, you'll be interested in this, but I'm going to still have Mylo go first on this one. This is your first baseman, Charles Moore. We talked a little bit about him last night as potentially one of the top, maybe first baseman in the NL at the moment. 6 plate appearances, 5 at-bats. He's 4 for 5, 4 hits, a double, and a walk in his career. Obviously a very, very small sample size, but what we have seen is potentially greatness in the making. Mylo, let me get your input here. Are you going to buy Charles Moore for the long haul, or do you think this is just a quick little hype and he's going to die out?
So in the sense of all these, we've seen this before, right? And I'm not saying that Moore is going to be bad. He's still a really good pitcher. Also, I think you mentioned he had a double, but he has 2 doubles now because he had 1 in this current game.
Yeah, I think he's 4 for 5 with a walk now.
Yep, 2 doubles, which is pretty good. We've seen this before. I mean, people will start off slow. Some people will start off hot. I mean, look at Van Vactor last year. Did amazing and then has really started off slow this year. Or look at me this year and last year, right? I'll admit it. I'm not doing as well this year as last year. It's been 5 at-bats since I've gotten on base. Started off even this year. I started off 2 for 3, 2 singles. And then since then, I haven't gotten a hit in the last 5. I would sell. Obviously, I would keep on a Charles Moore if he was on my team because I want to see him continue to produce really well. But I think we've kind of seen the best. Not saying he won't perform his best forever, but we've seen the best of like a coming out player. And I don't know how you get better than that, which is why I'd sell. Not saying it's not great, but if you can't get better than where you're at, that's when you sell a stock. So that's what I'm doing.
All right. What do you think, Doc? Are you going to buy or sell your player?
For obvious reasons, I'm probably going to buy my own player. I'm saying he's going to keep up 4 for 5 with 2 doubles forever is just silly. But I mean, I know how he is around the clubhouse, and I think he's going to keep up that star level performance over time based on that. And I mean, if you want to look at the Barney Summers and your Forehead Jones of the league, start from somewhere and start. I think the name recognition is only going to go up.
Alrighty, I am going to sell here. I kind of agree with Mylo. I think this is just too small of a sample size to really garner a true opinion of what Moore is going to be like. Maybe he surprises us all. Maybe he continues this pace. Maybe he continues that 700 and maybe even garners 3 plate appearances in his next 2 games, or maybe 4 in one of the games, and is able to squeak his way into an all-star roster. Who knows? Obviously, that's a slippery slope there, but Moore has shown that he has flashes of brilliance. I just don't think he can sustain it over an 18-session season. Moving on to the next topic. The Devil Rays infield, pretty much that's really the only question mark for this Tampa team. They have obviously one of the best outfields in the league, great catching depth with Carp and Saffron, and obviously a great pitching staff. But this infield has really been the source of question for Tampa Bay. If there's any sort of questions lingering around this Devil Rays infield, Mylo, let me go to you first. Are you going to buy or sell the success of guys like Trapper and JD and Reynolds? Are you buying or selling this infield?
First of all, I kind of want to conclude my own thoughts for. I still think Moore is an all-star first baseman. I don't know if he makes the all-star game this year, but I think he's a very good first baseman. So Moore, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing really good. But anyway, now I'm done with that. Tampa Bay, I am buying this infield. I think their infield average collectively is still it's not great, but it's pretty good. I think that would continue. I don't see why it wouldn't. Tampa Bay has shown that they can not just hit really well in one game against one pitcher, but they can continuously hit against different pitchers too. So I'm buying this infield. I think they're very valuable.
How about you, Doc?
I like the infield too. They just lost their only primary shortstop, and now they're gonna have to play Lawrence Wiseman a lot more, and he's a new guy. They probably don't want to. If you're gonna keep up the performance, spread the at bats around, and at this point they've got a hole that they need to fill.
I am going to sell here. I just think losing Freudenberger is really going to hurt the morale in the locker room. I just don't think that this group, particularly on the field. Now, obviously that does not deny anything the rest of the Devil Rays are doing. I think Carp is going to keep that robot arm and keep slugging away. I think McBaseball Face and Peckershine in the outfielder is going to keep on slugging. I even think Dominus Nominus is really close to finding his groove out in left field. I think Turner and McElroy and McToad are just going to keep plowing away on the mound. I think everywhere else on the diamond for the Devil Rays is fantastic. But I think this infield, I think Trapper's pretty good, but I just think everywhere else in the infield has a lot to work on. De Los Rosas obviously had the steal of home back in Session 3, but he has not had the season that he has been hoping for. Wiseman, we haven't seen a whole lot out of him. More too small of a sample size, and then Reynolds hasn't gotten off to the hottest start anybody could have asked for. So I don't think this Devil Rays infield is really going to get off the ground like people are expecting them to and really complete this team as they need to. And I think that's going to be their kryptonite if they make a playoff run later in the year. Let's go to one more quick topic here for buy or sell. This Seattle offense. I think Jack Alpha made a really great point last night on the show when he talked about how this team is really there or not. That's two different teams, Seattle. They're either slugging away with 10 runs or they're absent completely with no runs. But looking at the batting averages, you have Rex Kadobe hitting 571, Dill Pickle hitting 500, Miwa Langley hitting 500, Rob Atkins hitting 467, Lee Allen Ripley hitting 421. The numbers look good for Seattle. They're just not putting runs on the table. So as a whole, Mylo, let me start with you. Do you buy the Seattle offense, even though they've been inconsistent? Do you think that this is an offense that can really carry Seattle forward and start getting them more wins?
To put it overall, they're very undervalued, especially after getting shut out this last game so far. I don't think that game's done yet. Yeah, I think they are a lot better than this last game has shown, as we saw against Tampa Bay. They're pitching and batting to line up in the same game because they've shown that both work. You just need to put them both in the same outing, and they will be a team to be feared. But until then, still buy them. I think they're what they are valued at right now, and probably worth more.
What do you think, Doc?
I'm gonna buy the Seattle offense full way. I mean, Minnesota's not done yet, so I don't want to put too much stock into that. I mean, look at the stats. They've got a 381 average, which is much higher than any other team. I mean, if you're in the D of the pitch that much, some of those hits are going to turn into home runs every once in a while, and it's going to start paying off. And they've got the lowest a ton. It's just, yeah, I see too much upside in that offense. I'm going to buy.
I agree with you 100% on the upside. I think it's close, but I think I'm going to buy on this one. I think the upside is just so much there. I think a lot of these guys are probably going to regress. I don't think Kadobi and Pickle are going to keep hitting 500 all year, but I do think that the offense will stabilize enough to where you're going to see a lot of guys in the high 300s, maybe even low 400s. And I think Seattle's just going to keep raking. And eventually those hits are all going to come together and start turning into runs. And we're going to see a lot more of that flashy Seattle high-scoring offense that we love and know really well from a lot of these last few games. I think those runs are going to really start to come together and outscore some teams. And hey, when you're playing the Double Rays, you got to cut some slack. That's kind of a different situation. So I think the Mariners, I think they're really good on offense. And I think the pitching has been complementing that. We've seen that out of Walker and Sticky Fingers and Ziff. And so I think that team is really going to be put together once this offense can be more consistent. All right, let's do one more topic. Jordan Peppers. I'm a little biased on this one, so I'll keep my opinion out of it. But he has been raising some eyebrows from other GMs as a GM in the moves he has made. Obviously, his big move was trading Mort Stiefel right after his no-hitter and Ovaltine Jenkins out to Doc's Arizona Diamondbacks for Michael Voorhees and JMB. He also made some deals sending Wade Wilson out to Houston for Rivitsu Srmuvato. He sent a player to be named later to the Nationals for Lester, and then he also signed starter right-hander Josh Mador. Made quite a few moves as GM to really better this team, and they're close, not 100% certain, close to going 3-0 under Peppers and his reign after the Altgate struck Boston. Mylo, let me start with you. Are you buying Jordan Peppers as a GM at the moment?
So this is a weird statement, but I think Altgate was the best thing to happen to Boston, because since that has happened, they have been the most dominant team in the league. And as a humble man, I like approving of other people, but as a competitor and a fellow team in the AL East, I hate saying that Boston is the best, but Boston is the best team in the MLR right now. And that's a huge part to what Peppers has done. Respect for Peppers and for the Red Sox. I know we're going to face them soon, and I hope we win, but percent.
All right, Doc, what do you think?
There's no doubt in my mind.
All right, Doc, what do you think? Are you buying or selling Jordan Peppers?
I think no. He's not going to stay undefeated, obviously, but I'm going to buy. He's doing from in the GM chat, and they're a lot more than any other in their history. So he's going to keep up the activity. He bumped up the activity of Boston. I trust him if I were a Red Sox player.
Alrighty. We have about 30 minutes left to go here tonight on tonight's edition of MLR Tonight. So let's go back around the horn here and touch on a few more games that we already touched on earlier. Just kind of want to recap some things that have maybe developed or maybe some new thoughts heading into the game. Let's go back out to PNC Park. Still waiting on a swing from Logan Ninefingers, who blasted the 3-run homer earlier in the game. The current score out there is 7-2 Cardinals. Leading the Pirates right now. Let's talk about we talked about the Pirates pitching earlier, so let's flip and let's talk about the Cardinals and their offense and their entire team as a whole. Jeff Steelflex has really spent some time developing that team with a fine comb to say. He's got Ewell and Ninefingers and other guys really stepping up and leading. And he's really revamped the rotation ever since we saw what happened with Cowabunga Joe and some other and Joey the Truck Powers, but he's really stabilized that team and made it one of the hottest teams in baseball, as we've talked about. So let me ask. I'll start with you, Mylo. What do you think is the strength of St. Louis at the moment? Is it Poe and Cooter? Is it the offense? Is it any particular part of the offense? Is it Steel Flex as a GM? What do you think it is about St. Louis that is causing them to be as hot as they are at the moment?
I think it's the offense. So in their last 4, they scored. In their last 5, they've now scored over 6 runs 4 of those times. Fagan was coming off the Expos. I mean, I like their pitching. It's solid, but that offense it could end up being the top 3 offense in the league. So I'm going to take
What do you think, Mylo?
So strange. I think the exact opposite. Look at the Cardinals pitching. As of speaking this right now, the Cardinals are still playing in this game. But we are almost through 7 games in the session of 17 runs. That's 2.5 a game. That's better than 2.5 a game. It's tough to, if you need to score us 3 runs every game and you win, and you do the win, I think any team would take that. And that's what the Cardinals have provided so far. I couldn't find a list of all the scores of the season in some place. I couldn't just find a place where it was all the St. Louis Cardinals scores. But if I recall, they haven't given up a lot in the last. They lost 2 of their first 3, I think, and have dominated since. Which I think is mostly due to their pitching. I think that's the key to it.
Alrighty, alright. Quick other topic here. Jamison Poe, who has thrown a pretty good game as we wrap up this discussion really fast. He's thrown 4 innings in this one, giving up 3 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, and 2 strikeouts. Now holding a 2.08 ERA as a switch since leaving the Expos to become the pitcher for the Cardinals. Probably a great move on his part. Let's now that Scotty's gone, I guess we can jump over and talk and bash the Dodgers a little more. So let's head back out to Los Angeles and talk about Rockies Dodgers. Obviously still 9-0, waiting on a swing from right fielder Chad Masters. We hit on this a lot last night, but this Dodgers offense, which touting high numbers, especially Scotty himself hitting .615 on the year, Cutgrass hitting 600, Ted James hitting 500, Masters hitting 500, Sanchez 500, Callow 400. You've got all kinds of fantastic numbers going on here in LA. What happened this game? I mean, Garrett Evans, who has been anemic all year from the mound, is finally a lightning bolt, and all of a sudden the Dodgers just haven't been able to crack it. What do you think has happened here to cause the Dodgers to do nothing? Obviously, we've talked about earlier about why the Rockies have blown them out on the one side, but is there just what's wrong with this Dodgers lineup that they just can't seem to respond to anything? Mylo, what do you think?
I think every once in a while that just happens. As a team, when you're batting, every once in a while you just can't get the read on a pitcher. This happens in real baseball too, where you face a pitcher that you might not know as well and haven't been good, but they just will dominate. I think that just happened here with the Dodgers. I think their offense is good. I think the Dodgers are a little overrated, but I've already mentioned that. Lived up to how well they can play right now, and is kind of struggling this game. And I think that just happens every once in a while. I think Evans is doing very well pitching this game, and it just hit the Dodgers at the wrong time for Los Angeles.
What do you think, Doc?
About the Dodgers?
Yeah, and their lack of offense today.
I mean, Now their second game, they just haven't been able to hit off of pitcher who hasn't been doing well. So I think it shows maybe that offense just is not going to hold up over the full season.
Alrighty, let's go ahead and do another quick live look, and we have an update coming out of Camden Yards here. Blue Jays and Orioles playing in Baltimore. Levy Pyram on the mound for the Blue Jays. Indy Sane has been pinged. The pitch is in from Pyram. Sane is now up to bat for the Baltimore Orioles. As soon as we get a pitch here, or swing here on MLR Tonight, we will let you all know. Again, the Blue Jays have an 8-1 lead over the Baltimore Orioles. They are going for their 5th win on the season here in Session 7. I believe, pending the result in Boston or in Tampa Bay, I believe Toronto would now tie the Double Rays for the division lead in the AL East should everything hold up. We talked about this last night, and I want to get you guys' voice on this, especially you, Mylo, because you obviously know a lot about guys like Mike Concho and some stuff. We talked about how with this Blue Jays offense that there are a lot of faces like you. We have Lane Drew, we have Graham Grams, a lot of faces who are putting up good numbers. You know, you're hitting 333, Lane's hitting 313, Mike Concho's hitting 313. But you have the guys like Thomas Berry, who's not a very active face, hitting 353. Sven Jorgensen's hitting 615. You have a lot of these non-faces that are putting up great numbers and really leading this team. So who would you say is the true leader in the Blue Jays clubhouse? And if there isn't a true leader, is that a bad thing, in your opinion, on your team?
If I want to provide a really odd thing, the true leaders of our clubhouse are probably Mattis and our Blue Jays media manager. Like, they're probably the most active amongst the players. Maybe Lane and Mike Concho are pretty active. Balance. Some of the players will get involved in the main Discord, but most of them are fine with just talking to the other guys. If you look back at the inning that we just all started getting hits, in that inning, 3 of the outs were like buyouts, so they were still close to a hit. But every single Blue Jays player came up and kept batting, and I don't think being successful is good, but having everyone be is an okay thing, but having all your players be good is a great thing. And I think that's what we have. I mean, I've kind of regressed feeling. I hope I will be able to bring that back up. I should be able to bring that back up. And I will promise to my Blue Jays teammates on this podcast that I will bring my batting average back up to above 400 before the end of this year so that they can hold me to that. And I don't think we need a specific leader. I think it's everyone is evenly taking control of this team, and it's helped us a lot.
Doc, would you agree with that? Would you say that the Blue Jays probably could survive this year without a leader in the clubhouse?
Even if they don't have one singular leader, they have multiple people get the job done. So I think it can be independent in that sort, and they can still get the job done.
Also still look at Sven and Graham. Like, they're still both batting above 500, and they've been pretty big faces, whether active or not. I think they're a big face of this franchise if we did need to have that big face. So,
alrighty, let's flip over to the other side of the plate with the Orioles. We hit on this last night as well. They also do not really have that one leader that's been running that team. Dom Dunquette has definitely made some moves to try to put some spark into the flame there in Baltimore, but they don't really have the numbers either to balance out a good leader. Obviously, you have Nicky Falke hitting about 400, but other than that, you immediately think of guys like Meerkat Timmons who could step up to be a leader, or Chipper Dipper, but they don't have the greatest stats in the world at the moment. So who, in your opinion, is Baltimore a situation where they do need someone to step up and take the lead, or a group of people to step up and take the lead, or do you think they can all just work together and figure it out as a group? What do you think needs to happen in Baltimore for that team to get back to where they should be? Mylo, let's start with you.
This is kind of opposite because we're all contributing to that. And because Baltimore has kind of struggled, they do need that one person to step up. Who could that be? I don't know. I feel like they picked up a lot of new guys now. They're able to, if those new guys are able to bring up the batting average of the team and be able to contribute, I think that's going to be a huge thing. Just this session, I think they picked up Sherby this session. And Nick Romero, I think, is one of the new guys as well. If they're able to contribute right away, I think Baltimore is going to find a lot of success, but it's going to depend on guys stepping up, and it's going to depend on Baltimore's pitching going back. Baltimore's pitching is given up. They got 2.75 and 2 ERA. Or then
lineup for Boston, obviously trading a lot of the guys and what we've seen here. What do we think about just this assembly of players here? Because there's a lot of new guys, a mix of some Reddit-only players, definitely a mixed bag of guys we have here in Boston. So what do you think about just the way this new team has been assembled, honestly, for this game and for all the other games? We'll start with you, Mylo.
Did you say me? Sorry, I did.
Yeah, you.
Keep roboting.
Sorry about that.
Okay. I don't know. I feel like I'm just stroking the dick of all the Boston players out there, but like for real, I think Boston their lineup is good, set up well. All their players are contributing. Most contributing. Guthrie's having a bad, but a lot of their players are contributing, and I think the Red Sox are set up for future success. I don't think this is an anomaly that they Los Angeles. I think Colorado destroying Los Angeles, as good as it is, I think that's kind of an anomaly. This isn't an anomaly. I think this is what we should expect from Boston looking forward.
What do you have to say, Doc?
In terms of activity, it's going up with the addition of Voorhees and McCluster somehow showing up. I mean, the results are there, but just from my experience umping this session, like the pitching staff very much. So I think they need to make an addition there. Or, well, to be fair, I haven't umped Adore, and he's done well, but I think they need to make an addition there if they're make it to the playoffs in the long run.
On the flip side of the spectrum in Tampa Bay, you talked about additions. I was just about to make that exact point. The Devil Rays obviously losing this one. This will be their second loss on the year should this one hold out. They look like a complete team. They look like one of, if not the best teams in the American League, but they just feel like they're just missing one thing that's just going to get them and make them the best team in the league. What do you guys think that just one thing is? Do they just need a fourth pitcher? Maybe another infielder? Do they need another bat in the outfield? What is it that Tampa Bay needs to completely complete that team and make them ready to go play postseason ball once we get to September? Mylo, start with you.
The thing that Tampa Bay needs is Don McToad to Turner and W.B. Galloway pitch, or McElroy. If Donk can figure out what the other guys are doing and pitch in that same way and dominate games like they have. I mean, Turner has had a bad game this session. Other than that, I don't know if any pitcher besides Donk the last game has had a bad pitching performance. So I think if the pitching can hold up and McToad can reach the level of the other pitchers, that's what it will take for them to.
All right, what do you think, Doc?
I like a replacement for Finnegan. Again, he's their only primary shortstop, and the two guys who can play there secondary-wise, I would trust. So I think we need to find a replacement there, and then you put all of his active players in Echo, left MLR to the side, and if you're going to be a serious contender, you can't be doing that during divisional games. You have to play your best players when you can, and don't split it off so far like that.
Alrighty, let's hop on over back to Safeco Field and let's touch on some other things. Okay, we do have a score update for you. Let's go live now to Safeco Field. Johnny Hopkins just swung his number was 73. That's going to pop it out over to right field, and I believe Dill Pickle will make the catch. That's going to be 2 outs now. Nobody on for the Minnesota Twins. That's going to bring up Mr. JP Panic, and so hopefully the pitch is in there from Jarris Walker, so we should be receiving a swing from JP Panic anytime soon, and as soon as we get that, we will bring it to you right here. But let's stay here on this game and talk about a couple topics. First, we've already hit on Burr, but let's hit on this Twins offense, because they've been quiet today. They have 2 hits on the board altogether this game. Actually, yeah, 2 hits so far. What do we think about this team? Obviously, Charlie Scott has gone out of his way to rebuild this offense, bringing in Hopkins and D'Amico. But is this a complete offense in your opinion? Is this an offense that could really run away with the AL West? Mylo, let's go with you.
Can they run away with the AL West? I don't know. I think so. But I don't think it's going to depend on their offense. If their offense somehow becomes a top 3 offense in the league, then yeah, they will definitely run away with the AL West. A, I don't see that happening. But B, I don't see their pitching giving up either. They have 4 pitchers now, and all of them are pitching really well. Or no, they're at 3 pitchers now. I think they traded one of them away. The Twins offense, I don't know if it'll bring them to the AL Championship or if it'll win the AL West. What would if they do make it there?
Okay, quick correction. They are back at 4 pitchers now beginning in Session 8 as they did go out and re-sign Ricky Steele, who's making a return to the league now as who's going to be entering the closer role for the Minnesota Twins. So they are back at 4 with Steele and then, of course, Burr and why am I blanking on pitchers' names from Minnesota? Tim Burr, Pablo Sanchez, and Daniel Collins. So they have those 4 guys they're going to be rolling with. Obviously, Burr and Collins will do the starting work, and then Sanchez and Ricky Steele will do the relief work for the Minnesota Twins. Doc, let me get your take on the Minnesota offense.
The offense, I think it's time to reevaluate itself. Try something new. It's even before this game where they're not doing too well. Woba is barely ahead of the likes of Oakland and Philadelphia, and they've got the talent. It's just they need to try some new strategy if they're gonna start sides of the ball.
Alrighty, let's hop over and do another quick AL stop. Head back to Comerica Park in Detroit, where the Padres are playing the Tigers. We still have not had an update since the Alistair Executioner RBI single that brought in 2 runs, giving the Padres a 2-0 lead. We have not heard anything from that. We're still waiting on another pitch from Monique Rimpey. And I believe the next batter in line for the Padres will be Rambo McFly. So as soon as McFly is back, we will let you know. But let's sit here and talk about this Padres team. AJ Preller has definitely made a lot of changes to the team, bringing in Manchild and Stewart and a few other interesting pieces. But he's definitely really using the entire team now, which is something he struggled to do at first. Using guys like Sylvester Cinnamon and Kyle Grimes Jr. to really complete that team. What do we think about what we're seeing in San Diego? And is this something that could stick out and maybe potentially put them back in the NL West race? Mylo, let's start with you.
I don't know. The Padres as a whole, to me, they feel like of the MLR. Like they are a pop that people drink, but I'm not really sure why, and they're just kind of there. But I don't know, it's somewhat popular. I don't really know what I think about San Diego, and I think that's the weirdest thing. I mean, you watch this game until, no one had scored, and the Padres couldn't get a rally together. And then all today, or 2 hits, a walk, and then another hit, and now they're on top. So just when I think I knew, like going into this game, I thought the Padres were, not a great offense, but a decent offense, need a little help pitching. And they proved the exact opposite. I don't know. I don't know what to think of the Padres, to be honest with you.
That's kind of accurate. I mean, the Padres are just that team that nobody realizes that they're there, and then when they joke about the team that's never there, they forget about the Padres. So I mean, I'm in their Discord, and I can tell you that they are worse at duck hunt than the Diamondbacks.
Wow. Alrighty. Okay. Moving on. Let's flip over to the other side and let's talk about the Tigers, a team that has definitely been working the trade market this past session, bringing in Garrett Ipnov, who finally made his season debut this session, striking out, and also bringing in Rex Snare from the Rangers. They definitely made their fair share of moves, bringing in some other guys like Packer Jacker, signing John Johnson Jr. and some other players. What do we think about Zoom Boehner's Tigers and what they're going for? They're about to fall to 2-5, so obviously that's not good. But the numbers look good for a lot of players. You have Morris Durant, who hitting 500 on the season still, not having a great game today. You have Valentino Roland, who's also been playing really, really well. They have pieces, but is it just they need more pieces, or what's the issue in Detroit? What does Zoom need to do to get that team back on track and working towards some more wins? Mylo, let's start with you.
Whose team?
The Detroit Tigers.
No, I can't. Yeah. Anyway, so I mean, he's doing what I think he needs to do, and it's just not working out. I mean, I think the big thing for them was consistently and getting better pitching, and it worked this game until it just collapsed a little bit. He brought in Rimpai and then one inning just a string of hits, and it all went awry. The Tigers are hitting 300 as a team. It's not like they're having a poor offensive showing. What else they need to do, but I don't know. The Tigers are just overall, and I feel bad for them because there's no real pinpoint reason to it, at least that I can tell.
What do you think, Doc?
I don't really like the Tigers. I've been consistently ranking them worse than all the other GMs in the power rankings. Bad run differential. They don't really have any recognizable names on the team, and I know it's around a lot. I think he's just got to be agents and try to rebuild the place, even if it's just. I mean, he made the Morello trade, but then he kind of backed out of it. Have kept Morello and tried to get an identity in Detroit.
Alrighty, let's go ahead and do one last thing here tonight. One more major thing. Let's do I know we glanced on it earlier at the beginning of the podcast after we talked about all game, but let's go ahead and do a game preview, why don't we, of this rematch between Oakland and Texas. Obviously, pending anything crazy from Rick Gymnast or Rabbi Chase, we suspect that Sal Shark will be on the mound for the Oakland A's in the rematch, but we will see probably Superbone Three-Finger getting the start for Texas. What do you guys like about this pitching matchup that we're going to see in this rematch? Start with you, Mylo.
Who did you say? I couldn't quite hear it, dude.
Unless we get a drastic change, Sal Shark will be getting the start for the Oakland A's, and Superbone Three-Finger will get the start for Texas.
Okay, I like those two. I actually looked it back up. I didn't ump a game between them, but I am Texas versus Baltimore or Oakland versus Baltimore. Yeah, this year. Is that Superbone was like the only pitcher for Texas, and Sal is pretty much the only pitcher for Oakland. So it's going to have long-time pitchers that are both going to go off and for real now, because I mean, they just got shut out in a game that they shouldn't have got shut out in. We were saying after or before this game, Oakland is they're on the up and up, and then it wasn't true, but I think it still could be. So I like this pitching matchup. I think Sal Shark will. I think the A's feel a vigor and want to really come back into this game. I think the A's are going to be upset, and I think they're going to. So I'm looking forward to this, though. This is going to be of the year, I'd say, so far. I really am going to enjoy this.
All right, Doc, what's your take on the pitching matchup we have here in this one?
I'm on the A's side here. Al Shark is arguably the greatest pitcher in MLR history. Athletics lineup is just going to have a fire lit under them, and they're going to be really trying to get after the Rangers here for what happened.
All right, let's get some game picks from the two of y'all. Let's start with Mylo. Mylo, who are you taking to win this one? Mylo, you there?
Hello?
Oh, sorry,
Okay.
you must have heard me.
I didn't hear most of that, sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, who are you? Let's do some game picks. Who are you taking to win Oakland at Texas?
Oakland, Texas. I'm probably going to pick Texas. I think Texas will still win this. Texas. I couldn't tell you why, but I just have a feeling they're still going to win.
Doc, for you?
I'm going to... Prediction is this is a bit of a change. This is going to be an offensive battle. Oakland, they've, with the 501D article and then this whole debacle coming out recently, you've seen a lot of A's, and so they're definitely looking to win this game, and they're gonna more than ever, and they're gonna really be focused in.
I think the A's are going to take the win, not because they're going to score a lot of runs, not because they're going to do a whole lot, but because their GM, ladies and gentlemen, Rick Gymnast, has made a transaction for the first time in months, and you probably have missed it because nobody saw this. But a couple days ago, it was confirmed that Oakland has acquired Trey Pace from the Cleveland Indians in exchange for future considerations. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd just like to reiterate that Rick Gymnast has in fact made a transaction. Pretty shocking if you ask me. But yes, I think the activity in Oakland is rising. We're seeing more and more of them in game discussion. We've seen Van Vactor there. We've seen Bartholomew there. We've seen Max. Some other guys popping in. I think Oakland is primed and ready to go big time. I think they're going to start it right here with a big win over Texas. We are almost out of time here on MLR Tonight. It's almost 9:30 Eastern time, so we're going to wrap things up. Mylo, give me just one big opinion. It can be anything about the MLR right now, the session, games. Give me just one. You have the floor right now. Get on your soapbox. Talk about anything you want within the league.
Okay, I like this. Ago, I asked Jay to do this or make a case, but I was going to have him do this, but I'm going to make my own case and not have anyone debate me. The MLR is not as random as anyone wants to call it. People are calling it a random number guessing game. I frankly do not think that is the case. I think when we get to 100 at bats per player, and we see that somebody is batting 450 and other people are batting, I don't think that's a coincidence or that's just random chance. It's this game, as much as we want to say it's randomly guessing numbers, it's a psychological game. Imagine I can get within 167 of a number and get on base, right? I could guess 333, 267, or 1,000. Right number every time. I could get on base. It is a rock, paper, scissors game of in this range, or this range. And right more than 1/3 of the time. If I could play rock, paper, scissors based on the previous pitches, I don't think that's a random thing. I think this game is a lot less random than we like to make it. I'm really glad we have the no random number generator because then it would be a random game. But I think a lot more of this game has to do with thinking processes, and overall, I think it's less random than people will expect. It's less than I thought so when I came in. That's my soapbox.
All right. Thank you, Mylo. Now, Doc, you have the floor. You can step up, say anything you want. This is all your time. What's on your mind, Doc?
I'm gonna say the Cardinals are the best team in the MLR. Their last 5, the offense is on fire. The pitching is on fire. They've beaten a top team this session. Who they beat earlier? The Expos, the Brewers. They beat. They're for real, and they're gonna be here for a while.
Alrighty. That's going to do it for tonight's edition of MLR Tonight. Again, we apologize for that mid-show technical difficulty early on. We appreciate you bearing out with us. Mylo, Doc, thank you for coming on and joining us tonight. It has been a pleasure having y'all on.
It was a pleasure. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
All right. So that's going to do it here from Studio 39 tonight. Thank you all for joining us. If remember, we will be back soon. Who knows when MLR Tonight will return to the air, but when we do, we will be sure to let you know in the comments and game discussion and on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to MLR Tonight on YouTube, and if you have any questions or any suggestions or